In this short video, I'm going to show you how easy it is to get set up with Alphaletz. Just head over to our website and then scroll to the top of the page where you'll see a Get Started button. Click on that and you'll be able to add in your information here, pick your default currency and click on Create Account. You'll see on the bottom right hand side there's a little chat bot there where you can click and get support, and one of the team will get straight back to you. And you'll also get an automated email to verify your account, which looks like this. Click on the Activate Now button and you'll be securely set up in the cloud with Alphaletz, all based on Amazon Web Services on the highest level of security. And that will then take you in. Once you log into the dashboard, you'll arrive at this page here. You'll see a short welcome video. It's about a minute long, and that will just give you a quick overview on what Alphaletz can do for you and some of the features of the product. And it'll talk you through open banking and so on. I'm going to tell you more about that in this video in a moment. And you'll see that to get started, you'll see a button in the middle there saying Add New Property. Simply click on that and a screen will open on the right hand side. Put in the property name. This is more of a reference, like a London apartment or Edinburgh flat or whatever you might want to call it. As you type in the address, the database will auto-populate that, and then put in whether it's a single unit or a multi-unit property. We support both. You have some optional fields here for number of bedrooms and how many bathrooms and so on, and size of property. And you can even put in a short description here of the property. You can then add a cover image. So when you click on that, it'll open up your photos on your computer. And we've now added the property. In less than a minute, we've already added that London apartment into the system. You can do the same with multi-unit properties. Just go to the property screen, put in a reference. Let's call this one Birmingham HMO. Same thing, put in the address. But this time we're going to click on multi-unit. Once we clicked on multi-unit, put in the name or the reference of the first unit. Let's call this one bedroom 1. Again, you can put in the size of the property. You can put in, how many bedrooms and if it's got an ensuite, for example. Again, you can put in a description as well, like a large bedroom with ensuite, and then click on the cover image. This will be the cover image of the HMO. Same process, pick your image and then save your property. So now we have our HMO set up with one unit. So let's go ahead and add another unit. So I'm going to call this bedroom 2. Same sort of thing. These are optional fields if you want to put in the size of the room. If it's got an ensuite as well, you can put that in here. And now we have 2 properties set up in the system. One is a multi-unit and one is a single unit. If I click on this button on the right hand side, you can also see the names of the tenants and so on. But since we haven't got a tenant yet, the next thing we're going to do is add our tenant. Click on the left-hand menu to find tenants. And the only 2 fields that you need to put in here are the first name and the last name. Everything else is optional. So date of birth, LinkedIn profile, you might want to even keep their Facebook profile. All of that can be kept in the system. And again, you can even add a photo in, like from maybe an ID document or a passport and so on. Once you've done that, we're going to put it in the system as prospective tenant because we've not yet linked it to a property. So we now have our London apartment and we have our tenant. And if you use a letting agent, it's probably better to add that next. So if you don't use a letting agent, you don't need to, you can skip this stage. But assuming you do, we're going to put our letting agent into our suppliers. They're obviously a company in this example. I'm going to put in Belvoir, and as I start typing Belvoir in, it's auto-populated that in the system. It's even pulled in the Google reviews, the full address, and so on. And you'll notice down here on the right-hand side, you can link this supplier, a letting agent in this case, to contacts and to properties. So I'm going to put in a contact. Let's call it Frank Smith. I'm going to put his details in here, and I'm going to save that. And now this contact is linked to this property. It's really useful if you have multiple contacts, then you can keep them all together in one supplier record. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add our tenancy agreement. We call it a lease because that's quite a generic term, but all you do is click on Add Lease. We've added the tenant in already, so they're showing in the drop down. We've also added the letting agent, so that will also show in a drop down, and I'll show you that in a moment. So start off with the start date of the tenancy agreement. You can put in a fixed term or just put in your own end date to start this one off. Put in the rent amount. Let's put in $550, and let's put in that's a monthly rent. If you want to collect your rents on a certain day of the month, you can do that, and we'll calculate the pro rata amount for that first payment. You can then put in your deposit, so your holding deposit, for example. If you want to deduct fees, this is where, if you've got a letting agent, you can see that Belvoir are showing up in the payee because we added them as a supplier. So we're going to put that Belvoir charges £50 a month out of the $550, and you'll see why in a moment and how that calculates everything for you. If you want to add utilities or send an invite to your tenant to invite them to sign up for utilities, you can do that here as well. And if they do sign up, we'll pay you a commission for that. You can then set up automated emails to remind them that the rent is due, or remind them that they haven't paid the rent if it hasn't come in on time. And then once you save it, the system's going to ask you if you want to reconcile all the payments. So I'm going to click yes. I'll show you both options. I'll start with yes. So let's assume that this tenant has been in since January 21. They've always paid on the rent on time. The rents are all in, and with one click, I brought the system up to date. Now I'm going to show you how to reconcile it and link it to the bank account. So I'm just going to delete that lease, and I'm going to re-enter a new one. I'll put in the same sort of criteria, I'll put in the similar dates. I'll put in $550 as the rent amount, and we collect it monthly. I'm going to put in that the letting agent here, Belvoir, take £50, and I'm just going to save that. And now the system is going to say, do I want to bring in the payments or mark them paid? I'm going to say no in this example because I'm going to reconcile them with the bank. So the first thing you'll see in the rent schedule is all those payments are showing as overdue. And in fact, on the front page, on the dashboard, you'll see that the system is telling us we've got £13,200 of arrears. So we're going to fix that. First thing you'll need to do is add a subscription to your account so you can get access to the bank. The plans start at a really, really low price, just £10 a month. And you can add in the number of units you want in the little menu. And if you buy on an annual plan, you'll get 2 months free. You can also add more units at a later date as well. All right, so now I'm going to connect the bank. So I'm going to go down to the left-hand side. I'm going to click on bank accounts here. And I'm going to add and search for my particular bank. All right, so you'll see a wizard that pops up here saying that we're going to securely bring your data into the account. So we're going to click on control. We're going to allow it to pull the data in. And this is just a demo account, but on the real account, you'll see a list of about 10 or 11 big banks. If you don't see your institution, just click on the search. We support about 11,000 banks worldwide. It's quite phenomenal how many accounts are supported. And then once you click on your bank, it will redirect you to the login page. In this example, I've got Barclays, and it's now saying which accounts within Barclays do I want to connect. So again, this is just demo data, but I'm gonna pick on let's say 3 or 4 accounts here. I'm gonna click I'm okay to share the information, and then in a moment the system is going to securely pull in all these bank transactions. It's very, very quick to do it. It may take up to a minute depending on how many transactions you've got, but it is pretty quick. If the transactions don't show up immediately, just click on the update button, and there we go. We can see all the transactions for the 3 accounts within Barclays that I've just linked. You can link multiple banks as well, but I've just linked one bank with 3 accounts in this example. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the rent payments, and I'm going to reconcile them to the tenancy agreement that we just set up. So I'm going to type in income here. You could have you can type in income or expenses to get the appropriate information. But if you had a reference like, I don't know, Fred Blogs or something like that, you could type that in here. And as long as that reference is on the bank statement, then it will find it in our system. Then I'm going to pick the property. So I'm going to pick the London apartment that I want to reconcile the rents with. And I'm going to click go. And you can see how quickly the system has gone and found all those matching transactions. So it's found all the rents that match up to the tenancy agreement that we just added. And with one click, I can accept all those matches. Okay, there we go. You can see one at the top is not matched, and I'll come back to that in a moment. I'm just going to close out of that. And now what it's done is it's moved all those payments from review into categorized. So I've got 23 rent payments that I've just added into the system in about a minute, I guess it was. And now I can see on my London apartment, my rent has been received. We've got some rent overdue, and that's because a couple of those payments weren't matched. So I'll show you that in a moment. So if I go up to the rent scheduler here, there's the payment at the top that isn't matched, but all the others, you can see a little bank symbol here, and that means they've been securely brought in from the bank and have been reconciled with an exact match against the bank. The payments down the bottom aren't yet due. This one here at the top goes back to January 21. The reason that one wasn't matched is because if we can only go back 2 years in time of data, then it was probably too old to bring it in from the bank. So I can just manually click OK to reconcile it. And if the tenant, for example, paid in 2 parts, so let's say they paid 350, then I can put in the part payments as well. And the system will automatically recalculate the outstanding balance. So the rent was due of 550, they paid 350, I've got 200 outstanding. And again, I can just click mark as paid here, and it will manually mark that paid in the system. So you'll see it doesn't have the bank icon next to it. Now, once you've logged in, you can get access from any device and from anywhere around the world. As long as you can get onto the internet, you can get at your data on all your devices. There's lots more as well we can do in the system. We can run reports and statements and store all your documents digitally as well. And you can see that within just a few minutes, we've within less than 10 minutes, we've added a property, added a tenant, put in all the rent payments and so on, and everything now is securely in the system. If you need any help, please drop us a line at info@alphaletz.com. I hope you enjoyed that video, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.